Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from. We're tremendously happy to be with you guys one more evening. We're very, very happy that so many of you are joining us this evening. Candy, or rather Candy, Nalene, Inderjeet, good to see you there. Candy, who's joining us in the suburbs. She's joining us on YouTube. Good to see all of the other folks. I want to give a shout out to Philip Bunbury there. Good to see you as well. John Raymond, who is already joining us. Good to see so many of you who are already joining us across the diaspora, whether you're at home in Guyana, whether you're in the diaspora, that's the Caribbean for you. It's North America. It's right close by. It's South America, Central America, Latin America, wherever you guys are, Asia, even Europe, further afield. Wherever you guys are joining us from this evening, we want to thank all of you for joining us. It is our privilege, Marcia Griffith. It is our privilege, Onessa Ward Dean and Shondell Ward and Brenda Nicholson. Guys, I even want to say, share the live stream. Hope you guys are hearing us loud and clear. Let us know if you are hearing us loud and clear. Again, we're privileged to have all of you guys. We ain't going to waste too much time tonight. We are ready to get right into the hot topics, guy. I hope Lisa Pitt is okay tonight and Renee Mackenzie Talbot. We hope that you guys are great. Norma, Benjamin Singh. Hope you're good, Norma. And Babita Suk is going by so far. Sukar, Babita Sukar. Good to see you, Babita. But especially Candy, Nalene, Inderjeet, who's been with us long before the program started, waiting patiently there on YouTube, waiting patiently there on social media in general. Guys, it's such a privilege to see each and every one of you. Such a tremendous privilege to see each and every one of you. And we hope that you guys are good and we are well ourselves at this end. Tremendously good to have so many of you. See, Melissa Monroe is watching us from Buxton. That's a good place. And Orwin Don Cook, Lisa Pitt, Raul is there as well. Raul Brando Ramatar is there as well. I see Diane Fordyce and Kim Walker. Keon, good to see you, Keon there. Onyx, I see Onyx. Onyx Duncan, his family. Onyx I glowing tonight. Mind we, not we business. Onyx, mind we, not we business. Good to see. Onyx, once you love Guyana, you start glowing. Purgatory in Guyana is the crosses, the jagabats, the trenches. Once you left that country, you just start glowing, brothers and sisters. And we're tremendously pleased to have each and every one of you. Everything is not right, but most things are, and we are happy. We're going to work with what we have to get to where we need to be. We are going to work with what we have to get to where we need to be. Guys, I hope that you are hearing us loud and clear. I see a lot of folks joining us. Lizzie Lohan, Superstar, Shamar, Damon, Sharon Mercurius. Good to see all of you guys. Good to see you there, Sharon and Deborah Sharona Lynch, Edol Rodney and Claire Capel, Andrew Cuthbert. I see Samantha Jilks. Good to see you, Samantha. Guys, as you come on, share the live stream. You know what you got to do. You know the price of admission. Don't let me get around tonight. I want to fight any of you unnecessary, but I will fight you guys if I have to. Good to see each and every one of you. Ernest Elliott, I'm hearing that some policemen are Linden bound. Guys, we're watching that as well. We hear some police are Linden bound. We are watching that. 2 bus loads of tactical service people. Y'all can get what y'all looking for. Y'all are going to get what y'all are looking for. Kwesi Hunt. We're hearing that. I see Kwesi Hunt. I see Lynette Fraser, Sylvia Allen, Michael. Is it Melanie Drayton and Gladstone Matthews? Good to see all of you guys. It's our privilege, folks. It's our privilege. Siobhan Fraser, Rail D'Olivera. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Patricia Asana, Lynn McDonald, Samantha Jilks. Good to see each and every one of you guys. We want you to share the live stream. A lot of information to share with you guys. Dorothy Edinburgh, Roxanne, good to see you, Roxanne. Melanie Drayton, and again, Will Felix. Is it Skimone? Dorothy Jackson, Felicia, and good to see you as well. Guys, great to see you. Again, welcome in the ring, whether you guys are joining us on YouTube, you guys are joining us on Twitter, the Bel Air of social media, you're on YouTube, the suburbs of social media, or you on Facebook, you're in the ghetto. Good to see each and every one of you guys. It's our privilege. It's our privilege, whether we're at home or we're overseas, to be your host as we touch on so many stuff happening back. Folks, you see, if you all are receiving me clear, the internet better out here too, you know. The internet better out here, guys. So much better. So if you all seeing us clearer than usual, if you all are seeing us clearer than usual, thank you, Biden. Thank you, Americans, for hosting us, making sure we have good internet. We're having some challenge. I don't know why the background kind of is a little iffy, but we're going to rectify that. Good to see each and every one of you. Let me come this way so we get a good chance to see the other stuff that are happening. Good to see you guys. I think I can come a little closer. Once I follow on this broadcast, just making sure that we got the right angle. I don't have too much of this stuff on my shoulder. Guys, good to see each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from. Rhonda Lane, good to see you. Rhonda Lane, and good to see you, Will Felix, Marcel Hamer, and Coretta Millington, Laura Williams. Guys, I want to have a beg y'all for Shady live stream. We're going to have Rickford Burke is going to be stopping by. We're going to be talking about this big anti-racism rally that's going to be held over this coming weekend. And we're going to be also talking with Amanza Walton-Desir, who's going to be joining us as well. I just look, I despise how my background is shifting, but we're going to work with that, guys, and we're going to get through some of these hot topics. Rhonda Lane says she's in the house, and Marlene says her husband is in the house as well. We want to give a big shout out to Philip Bunbury and Candy Naleen Inderjeet. These folks have been with us very, very early. George Braffett is in the house. Folks, let's fight. Let's fight. I'm eager to get through some of these hot topics, and I hope you guys are too. Don Raymond, Brenda Braffett, Pamela, good to see you as well, and Ronier, Alexis Tanborn, Forbes Harvey, Marilyn Ford, Sukchan Sudhari. Good to have all of you guys. Usual suspect. The usual suspects, guys. And share the live stream as we come on. Share the live stream. Guys, I'm having so much fun. Being a little bit out of the jurisdiction for a couple of days, but keeping our finger on the pulse of all that is happening. I see Gwyneth Jones is in the house. Sophia is in the house. Rose Capel and Sharon Murray and Blessed Child. Sharmila Simeon Carter, Blessed Child. Good to see all of you guys. Guys, share the live stream as you come on. And I want us to get right into those hot topics this evening. Let's get into the hot topics. So much happening on so many fronts, guys. You know, and I wanted to start here talking about what is called the American Rescue Plan. And this is a simple theme that underlines all that the Biden administration, the Biden-Harris administration is trying to accomplish, at least during their first tenure. It is a simple refrain, the American Rescue Plan. And I was listening to President Biden just today, articulating so clearly and so simply about what this plan aims to do. Tackle COVID. It aims to reboot the economy, bring persons from the bottom into the middle class, and then expand the middle class outwards. I just spent some time listening to this guy during the course of the day, and I thought about our own country. And as Guyanese, think about it. What is our administration aiming to do? What are we aiming to do with COVID-19, with the economy, with healthcare? It's pocketory. That's our team. It is pocketory, folks. It's confusion powder. Those are our themes. The crosses, the jagabats, the trenches. confusion powder. Those are our themes. Think about it. I heard Mr. Biden, I heard President Biden articulate so eloquently, speaking to the Guyanese people, communicating with them, not the PPPC. They have failed miserably. Nobody knows what is going on. The policy or the policies of the PPP depends on which minister you meet and what they say to you. There is no coherent strategy on anything. It's the wrong man in the engine room. That is the problem we have. It is the wrong man in the engine room. So we don't have an overarching national plan. Granger had a good life. Granger sought to give every Guyanese the good life. And some of you may dispute that. Some of you may dispute that at your own peril. Stifle your conscience and dispute that. I'm distracted for a second. Stifle your conscience and dispute that. President Granger had a good life. And what a life it was. What a life it was, folks. And so I invite you guys to share the live stream. Let me take one of these down a little bit and see if I some folks are saying I have too much light here. Too many lights. Yeah. They don't want me to be glowing. So Granger had a good life, seeking very, very simply to improve the quality of life of every Guyanese. A raise in pay for public servants every year. We were in administration. Lowering the crime rate tremendously over the last 5 years. All of that entailed a good life. Improving the standard of living. Looking out for each other. Right-sizing the sugar industry. No, not this, not this fraudulent installed PPP administration. It's confusion powder. On the COVID-19 front, pocketory on the COVID-19 front. And I know some of you will disagree with me, and that's okay. You guys know that we love to have differing views in the ring. That's okay. We love that that interchange, that intercourse of ideas, and we always say we're not concerned whether you are APNU, AFC, whether you are PPP, WPA, ANUG, whoever you are. Let's come in the ring and let us contend. Let us contend with ideas. Let us contend with ideas, folks. And so on the COVID front, it is pocketory. It is confusion powder. The team for the administration on the COVID front is locked out. And I hope wherever you guys are joining us from this evening, again, whether you're at home in Guyana or you're joining us in the diaspora, where I am privileged to be this evening, that you are sharing this live stream. Hundreds of you are joining this live stream. Hundreds, literally hundreds of you. And we ask each of you to share the live stream. Let us get this credible information out there. And so on the COVID front is locked out. Locked out at every turn. Locked out. That could be the theme. Locked out. And remember, I said to you, the policy on any given initiative is based on which minister you talk to. Huh? The policy of the government depends on which minister you talk to. Here's a prime example. We have the Minister of Public Works, the installed fraudulent Minister of Public Works. This jagabat that looking like that creature that came in Monsters. One Edghill, better known as the Fisher Bishop. He came out and said that to enter Guyana as a Guyanese citizen, you have to be vaccinated. You have to be vaccinated. The very same day, not long after, the very same day, up comes Frank Anthony. Frank said you need no vaccine. Frank said you don't need any vaccine, but you got to apply to the COVID-19 task force for entry if you have not been vaccinated. Same government, same fraudulent installed government. Oh, y'all had one thing to do. Y'all had one thing to do. And even that, you cannot get right. One goddamn thing to do. And even that, you're sailing. And so this gentleman wrote a letter to the editor just today in Sabuk News. Shamshun Muhammad. And hear what he said. He's talking about the PPP mixed messages on COVID, and he appears to be a PPP supporter. You can get the sense of the leanings of the person based on the tone of the letter. He said one report alleged that one minister saying all incoming passengers, including Guyanese passengers, needed to be vaccinated. And this report was carried in news source. And another minister, Frank Anthony, responsible for health, is saying that no vaccination is required. Imagine if in one regime, you got two different policies on COVID. How are we going to bring COVID under control? One regime, two different messages, two different policies on COVID-19. These guys don't go to cabinet and sit down together and come to a conclusion on a matter, decide on a matter. This is the direction we're going. Trying to get a consensus view. Perhaps, hopefully, after listening to the Guyanese people, clearly they're not listening to the Guyanese people. One administration, one minister saying one thing, the other minister saying something else. And so Shamshun Muhammad, as a citizen, as somebody who is concerned in what is happening back home, has flagged this to the extent to write a letter to the editor. Shamshun Muhammad. Frank got one thing to do. And even on the COVID front, Frank has failed miserably. And that is why we brought the motion of no confidence. But he's been fighting it. And when you got a jagabat, like the speaker, the installed speaker, when you have a jagabat, like Mansour Nadir, how is that motion going to meet on the other paper? But I'm coming back to that. That jagabat of a speaker. Guys, we invite you to share the live stream. Laverne Joseph, Joyce Prince, Althea, Benjamin, and Rita Singh. Good to see you, Rita. Deborah Simon, all of you guys watching. Marsha Glasgow, Cherry Lewis. We invite you to share the live stream. Let me hasten through the hot topic so that we can have our guest on. This jagabat doesn't know what he's doing, Frank Anthony. And this other jagabat, stepping into public health issues. One of the things under the Biden plan, the American Rescue Plan, says let the public health official steer the discourse on COVID-19. The public health official. I don't know if this jagabat, the monster's character, the Fisher Bishop, I don't know if he's a public health official to be pronouncing on people entering Guyana being vaccinated or not vaccinated. I don't know if this Jagabat here is a public health official. As a matter of fact, I think he needs to have his head examined. I think the fella needs to have his head examined. One install regime, you see what happens when you install a regime, ladies and gentlemen, you understand what happens when you don't come in the credible and valid way. Purgatory and confusion powder. Purgatory and confusion powder. People's protests on this very issue of vaccination. This is what we saw at Linden. And we know there have been demonstrations in Georgetown as well. We know there have been demonstrations in Georgetown as well. Just today, we saw citizens with a constitutional right to protest exercise that right. And we made to understand that they would have blocked the Mackenzie Bridge over the very issue of being asked to show proof of vaccination, especially the health professionals at the Mackenzie Hospital. The health professionals that the Fisher Bishop, one Edghill, is not. So they are being prevented from going to work. From going to work. They're now being prevented by a draconian, remember that word, draconian government policy. But I shouldn't even say it's a government policy, because Frank and Fisher Bishop seem to differ. Not seem to differ, differ. And so exercising their constitutional right, the Wisma Bridge there was blocked today. And as lots of you are hearing, we are hearing as well and monitoring that there are tactical services units heading to Linden. But when they head to Linden, what happened if a bridge blocked at Borbees? And when they head to Linden, what happened when a bridge is blocked in Region 3? And when they head to Linden, what happened when a bridge is blocked in Region 4? This installed regime, their priorities on the wrong things. Their priorities mix up. And as you guys come on the live stream again, I use the opportunity to encourage you to share the live stream. Encourage you to share the link. I know some people are blocked on Facebook. Y'all so bad, Facebook can't hold y'all. They're blocking y'all. We're live on YouTube. Check for me on YouTube, folks. We're live on our YouTube channel. You can share the link on WhatsApp. You can watch the show right there on WhatsApp. We're also on Twitter, folks. Share that link. Anthony Stepping Stone and Neville Baggott and Carol Jacobs, Carl Miller and Freddie Jackson, share the live stream. So the bridge was blocked. And again, we're monitoring what's happening there in Linden, and we encourage the folks to go out and support what is happening. Boots on the ground, go out and support. Lindeners and others in Region 10, go out and support by your hundreds. I heard there was over 600 persons there today in that protest by the bridge, the Linden Mackenzie Bridge. Kudos to the organizers there. I hasten on. If y'all want evidence, the Jagabats, the Trenchies, the Nakovakamites, the Crosses, if y'all want evidence that'll come back, look no further. The PPP come back. Businessman gunned down. Businessman gunned down. In Regent Street. This is not by the gardens. This is Lower Regent Street towards City Hall. According to reports, about 10 p.m. last night, in front of Shamdas Korpulani. Near Shamdas Korpulani, which is closer to Wellington than it is to Camp Street. Businessman gunned down. PPP, come back, people. PPP, come back. And we are advised that Euclides Arian de Silva, who is a Brazilian businessman who apparently resides in Guyana, no stranger to law enforcement, resides in Hatfield Street, was gunned down in Regent Street under a hail of gunfire. And I've had the opportunity to look at some of that video circulating on social media. Folks, was a hail of gunfire. A hail of gunfire. And we're advised, I think Starbuck News is reporting, that about 9 to 10 bullets hit Euclides Arian de Silva, businessman. I also saw the CCTV camera footage. In under 30 seconds, the car pulled up behind this gentleman's vehicle. He and his associate who was in the vehicle with him was shot, and that vehicle sped off in under 30 seconds. According to one report, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. De Silva died on the spot, while the other man, said to be of East Indian descent, was rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital with multiple gunshot wounds about his body. This is what is emblematic of the PPP's regime, of the PPP's tenure. For 23 years in Guyana, 2015 and backward. And this is what they're hastening us to. Gun down Euclides Arian de Silva, businessman. Gun down. And so those of you who went and put your X there, this is what you voted for. This is what you have voted for. And in one of our upcoming shows, we're going to map all of the shootings we've had in Georgetown alone to begin with since August 2nd, 2015. The PPP come back. If you are ever in doubt, we're going to have additional reporting on this matter in subsequent broadcasts. Again, we're following this other story here of that gold heist. And these jagabats who have been charged, we know one of them, the sergeant in the Guyana Defense Force, he has changed his guilty plea. Yes, imagine that. Sergeant in the Guyana Defense Force. And in a previous broadcast, I said to you that reports are out there that there were police and soldiers involved in this heist in Camberville. The PPP come back. The PPP come back. This kind of crime is their signature. But the crime plan? Where is the crime plan that the PPP promised us? We're going to give you additional information on this matter as we get it, folks. As we have it, we're going to give you additional information on this particular matter. Still following the events there, as you know, investigators were led to the backyard of one of the individuals, two of the police who are involved in this matter, and $18 million of the $58 million that they robbed that gold dealer of was found buried in the backyard. Buried in the backyard. Once you're home in Guyana, you understand this. Business people feeling the squeeze, and the ordinary citizens in Guyana know too acutely things tight. And those of us who are in the diaspora, I don't know how to demonstrate, to paint, to articulate, to illustrate in even more graphic terms that things tight. Things tight. Take my word for it. Call your family from Skeldon to Ituni, region 1 to 10, and find out. Or region 1 to 11 in the diaspora. Things tight. Things so tight. Huh? This cashier working at a business place faked a robbery to pay off her debts. Yep. The cashier faked a robbery. All kinds of bizarre manner of things are happening. All manner of bizarre things, ladies and gentlemen, are happening. I hasten on. We got some soup drinkers. We got some soup drinkers, ladies and gentlemen. Some soup drinkers. And I'm talking about ANUG in particular. I want to talk about this set of soup drinkers because they tight, thick with the PPP. But even these soup drinkers get fed up with them. 1 year and a couple of days later, even these soup drinkers are fed up with them. It didn't pass our notice here that ANUG put out a press statement recently. ANUG put out a press statement recently. And we got Jagabat number 1, Timothy Jonas. And Jagabat number 2, Ralph Ramkaran. Leaders of ANUG, hypocrites, hypocrites, choosing to speak out conveniently. Hypocrites and hypocrites. This is what the press statement coming out from ANUG, a new and united Guyana, reads. Recently, and some of y'all think it's only APNU AFC making noise about these issues. Some of y'all think so. This is these hypocrites, these soup drinkers, because Ralph got a cushy job. These hypocrites. Ralph got a cushy job. He is an advisor to this government. Ralph, an advisor to the government on border matters, on border issues. I hasten on to get my guests on border issue, Ralph. And here's what the press statement said. The government has announced and implemented a policy of restricting access to public services and facilities. For those persons who have not been vaccinated. This move is draconian. Remember I told you to mark that word? Mark that word. To flag it. Draconian. To bookmark it. Draconian. This is draconian and may have implications on the constitutional and civil rights of citizens. May have. He's still vacillating. Hypocrites, soup drinkers. Ralph is earning perhaps more than $1 million off of the government. So he says it may have implications for constitutional rights and civil rights of citizens. The government they help elect. The statement reads, the government has not provided a reason for this decision except to speak vaguely about the desirability of being vaccinated and the danger of not being vaccinated and the need to protect society. They have spoken vaguely. This is not me. This is our own friends talking. So when I say they don't have a coherent policy, some of y'all say I'm biased, but this is their own friends talking. They have spoken vaguely. Such vacillations are unhelpful at this time. This is the friends talking. And need to be informed clearly about the public needs to be informed clearly about the implementation of a policy which is immediately and widely contentious and heavy-handed. This is the difference. The government has once again forgotten its purpose is to serve and not dictate. Guyanese in the diaspora especially, this is their friends talking. The PPP installed regime, and I quote ANUG, has once again forgotten its purpose is to serve and not dictate. But that's not the surprising part. Here is the donor. Here is the donor in the Soup Drinker app, ANUG, their statement. ANUG expresses its support for the motions proposed by the leader of the opposition. Yes, I think you heard me right. ANUG expresses its support of the motions proposed by the leader of the opposition, and it regrets its rejection by the speaker. Remember, tell you, I'm coming back to he. So the opposition tabled a motion to discuss this mandatory vaccination policy. And that jagabat, that cross, Mansour Nadir says not urgent and it's not important. And ANUG, the soup drinker, telling the own friends, hear what ANUG said, in a democratic society, in a democratic society, in this frightening pandemic, the government's obligation is not to enforce its policy by removing civic and constitutional rights on dubious grounds. Its obligation is to provide the public with real and clear information that enables and empowers the people to make educated and correct decisions about their bodies. And if ANUG, I say this very, very strongly, if ANUG feels this strong about the government violating constitutional rights, why Ralph don't resign from the government work? Why Ralph don't resign from the government work? Huh? And just before I have our guest on, I want to turn our attention very, very quickly to this letter from the editor that we saw at our end, that catched our eye, a letter from the editor, ladies and gentlemen, that caught our attention and continues in the vein that we have been speaking. And this is what this small man is saying. Remember, I quoted that other letter from the newspaper by Shamshun Mohammed. Shamshun is a small man. And the small man knows we ain't stupid. The government has mixed messages on COVID. And this other small man, or in this case, a small woman, or small person, Maniram Budu, small man, Maniram Budu is complaining. Maniram is in the diaspora and complaining about the PPP. And just before I have my guest on, listen to what Maniram is complaining about. Maniram Budu in the diaspora. The headline for the letter, the title, the header, PPP has no time for the little ones who helped. Maniram Budu. Only big shots, opportunists. PPP has no time for the little ones who helped. Only big shot opportunists. And Maniram Budu is pointing out, Maniram resides in the diaspora. Here Maniram is saying, there's an announcement on social media by one Faisal Yusuf of a $250 US per person paid event in New York that will be graced by Irfan Ali and Jagdio in September. $250 US, that's 50,000 Guyana dollars. And here what is Maniram's contention. So those of us who can't afford $250 US will be excluded from the event. Is this what Jagan's working class party has become? Oh, y'all didn't know the scorpion that y'all fetching across the pond. Here Maniram says, we took Rickford and Edghill to various small businesses in Richmond Hill, Jamaica, and other parts of Queens for financial support. Big businesses had no time with them. This is Maniram's letter to the editor. Maniram Budu. We took Rickford and Edghill to Mandirs to rally support, urging them to call families in Guyana to support them. We organized mass meetings for them in Richmond Hill. And here, Maniram, now the PPP is in office, it has no time with us, the poor, the working class, the small business people in Queens. It is now with the big boys and girls who can afford to play big bucks. The party never learns. Those of us who fought in the trenches for the PPP are out. We cannot afford to play the game replaced by opportunists who are embraced by the party leadership. Rickford and Edghill have forgotten the poor. We are just fodder for them to get into office and hold titles. Folks, that is Maniram Budu. And if that is the way Maniram Budu feels in the diaspora, imagine how we feel who are at home in Guyana. Imagine how we feel who are not their supporters. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome at this time the one and only Amanza Walton-Desir and Rickford Burke. Welcome. Let's fight. I feel sorry for Maniram. I feel sorry for Shamshun. The PPP has forgotten the poor and working class. Rickford, they have forgotten the poor and working class. Amanza, how are you this evening? Let's start. Ladies first.
Good night, Jared. Good night, Rickford. How y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Great.
Take it away.
So we're here in this part of the woods, monitoring what's happening. The situation is deteriorating rapidly. And I think people are at the point where they have just had enough now.
Yeah, and I saw you expressing some concern for the Linden situation in particular. I know you have been on the ground in those protests, and you've been on protests in Georgetown. Will this fraudulent install regime learn? For me personally, I say let it go on. Let it keep on doing the foolishness. The quicker they come out of office. Amanza, MP.
I was on the ground in Linden today, just get an understanding of what is happening and how people feel. And people are really, really frustrated. We spoke with a number of folks. I myself encountered a few people. There was a woman who I was talking with in Linden earlier today, and she had a surgery scheduled today. And you could see that her tummy is rapidly swelling as time went by because she had to have a surgery. Was not let into the hospital compound. And so, like I said, the situation is rapidly deteriorating. I know that they have sent up 2 busloads of soldiers there tonight. We saw the army buses heading up there. And, Sherrod, it is very, very, very concerning because what we were able to do today is to go live from a number of locations, hospital locations, and you could see that what was happening in Linden is an anomaly because people were not being turned away from the Georgetown Hospital. People were not being turned away from over the river and in Region 6 and so on. It appeared to be only a concentrated effort to frustrate Lindeners. And so it's really, really very concerning. Last night we had a 12-day-old baby yesterday that couldn't access the hospital. I was there, I saw handcuffs, the gates are handcuffed. And, this is really very concerning. And I think we have to be able to draw the distinction And there's some fine distinctions that need to be made, because when you speak about these things, the first thing people accuse you of is, oh, you're anti-vaccine. That is not the point. That is not the point. We
Yep.
support you taking the vaccine if you wish. Look, Sharon, the reality is that there are some people who simply can't because of medical reasons. And they have been reaching out to us. Look, I cannot take the vaccine. There is no procedure in place for exemptions. The government has simply not thought this through. And because they haven't thought it through, people are having a reaction. And so, I notice a lot of people sitting on their high horses. Oh, why don't you just go and get vaccinated? There are some people that can't. What are the arrangements in place for them? Pregnant women are unsure as to what they are to do. And instead of embarking on a proper education and awareness campaign, the government just believes that they can big stick people. I want to make a point before you invite Rickford.
Go right ahead, Amanza.
I said this, Sherrod, when they were handing out the $25,000 cash grant, COVID relief grant. I said since then that the manner that you are sharing this money and discriminating is going to impede your ability to manage this pandemic. So said, so done. Because people that they pink slipped are now saying, well, you missed me with the $25,000, missed me with the vaccine. And so government has a fundamental issue of trust. The population does not trust them. Because Frank Anthony was saying, oh no, we aren't mandating vaccines. But you see something else playing out on the ground. And so I want to make it clear, we are not anti-vaccine. What we are saying is that you cannot roll out a vaccination program in a manner that ignores people's fundamental rights guaranteed to them by the Constitution. You simply cannot do that. And so, I am afraid that the situation is going to deteriorate further. I am very, very worried that is what is going to happen. And particularly in Linden, because Linden seems to be targeted for pressure for some reason or the other. And I'm a Lindener. I know the Linden people. We are very strong and resilient people, and when we put our mind to something, So I think the government needs to really take a step back before we slide further into chaos and disorder.
Point taken. I'd only add there that whether somebody has a medical condition that should preclude them from taking the vaccine or not, or whether they are as healthy as a horse, once they don't want to take the vaccine, that is their right. That is their right. So it is not premised or should not be premised on whether they have a medical condition or not. It is as has been that emergent theme. It is their bodies and their choice. And I'm happy with what is going to culminate over this coming weekend here in the US, is to give even a greater voice to stakeholders and to others in the diaspora who are looking at this government and who are shuddering at the things that they are doing. As I started by saying, there's a coherent plan in the US. If you listen to President Biden, even if you want to say, I don't want the vaccine, at least you know what is at stake and you know what the plan is. Back home, it is chaos and confusion. It's confusion powder. Rickford talked to us about that event coming up this weekend. This rally against racism and everything that this installed PPP stands for.
Well, I'm happy to do that. But before I do that, I want to comment on the situation with the vaccine and Linden. I think we have not really come to terms with what this government is doing. The government is deliberately provoking Black communities. This government wants a confrontation with Black communities. This government has been arming the Guyana police force with sophisticated weaponry, and they are raring to go to have a conflict with the Black community. I think we have been engaging elected officials and government officials in the United States. I think people are looking at what's happening in Guyana. I think Barjagdeo is behind all of this. He is a communist. He doesn't believe in the rights of people. especially political opponents. And he thinks that he has the support of Sarah Ann Lynch, and an announcement with regard to her is going to come soon. And so he thinks that he can do what he can do. And Sherrod, I think this government is pushing the country towards conflict. I'm not advocating anything, but I'm being realistic as an analyst. This government is pushing our country towards civil conflict. And we should be worried. All of us should be worried. They have prepared their supporters for armed conflict. They have heavily armed security, owners of security company that support them because they feel that the police force or the army probably wouldn't support them in the event of a conflict. We know this, we have the intelligence. I'm not speaking because I want to speak. We have the intelligence. We know what they're doing, and we're monitoring it. Now, in terms of the events, and people in Guyana should be prepared for it because they're preparing their people for it secretly. They did it in 1963. They did it throughout their term in office from 1992 to primarily 2010, but on to 2014. And our people must be prepared for it. But coming back to your original question, we're ready. We're ready to welcome you guys to New York. We have people coming in from all over, all the other states. Today I ran into some people on Church Avenue who came in from Arizona for the event. I have the poster behind me here, one of the smaller posters. And we're ready to go. It's a series of events. I want people to know this is a strategy. It's not just a rally. We have events from Thursday night straight through to Tuesday. On Saturday, we're meeting with some members of Congress. As a body, we have a luncheon, and we'll be discussing what is going on in Guyana with them. We'll be discussing U.S. foreign policy towards Guyana and probably the wider Caribbean region. On Sunday is the rally and the march. And after that, we're going to encourage people to go to the Guyana 592 Fun Day link up. That's on DeWitt Avenue. That is on Sunday night. On Monday, we have a Diaspora conference. We'll be sitting down and strategize with the leaders from Guyana, discuss what is happening in Guyana, come with a strategy as a diaspora to deal with it. We cannot escape the fact that we are in an apartheid regime in Guyana. There's no approaching apartheid. We think it's the apartheid there. It is an apartheid regime. They don't believe in the rights of Black people, plain and simple, or any person that is opposed to them. Amerindian communities that are opposed to them, they're treating the same way. East Indian communities that are opposed to them, they're treating the same way. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it. And we're going to sit down with our officials, and we're going to talk about that. And then we have a town hall meeting on Tuesday the 17th to discuss with the public and the general diaspora what is going on in Guyana, what our deliberations produce, and where do we go from here. In terms of moving forward, this is going to be the commencement of a series of activities. We're going to go to Washington after this. After this, we're going to begin an aggressive campaign against the PPP in Queens, wherever they are, in Guyana. We're going to go to the United Nations. We're going to go to these PPP support businesses in Queens and shut them down. We are not going to allow them to fund racism in Guyana. Around the world, the government blocks businesses that benefit from terrorism or support terrorism. We believe that, I'm going back to apartheid. The world blocks businesses and finances from going to the apartheid regime in South Africa. We have an apartheid regime in Guyana. And if the international community is not willing to block finances at this point in time, do things that they did to apartheid regimes and racist regimes and other regimes across the world that deserve to be internationally sanctioned, we're going to do it ourselves. So we're going to join the Black Lives Matter, and we're going to have night protests through Queens. And we're going to target businesses. We're going to disrupt their business. We're saying publicly what our plans are. We're going to campaign against them. We're going to ask people not to support them. We're going to close down the businesses. We already have a list of some of them. We have the list of some of the homes of these people. We're going to go there. We're going to take it there. And I heard that you said Fazil,
Yusuf.
Yusuf has announced a PPP dinner. This is very concerning. First of all, he is performing the duties of Consul General. And even if he wants to deny that, he is working in the consulate as an advisor to the government. Wow. I just made a mistake, sorry. I linked you guys with a call that was coming in. Oh, I think the call went off. Yeah, so now it's concerning because he's driving around with the diplomatic vehicle whose diplomatic license plate is issued by the State Department. We're going to engage the State Department. We had to do this before, where we had the State Department pull a vehicle from the consulate. Under the Barjago administration, when the Deputy Consul General drove that vehicle to protest against then opposition leader and former President Desmond Hoy. We're going to do it again. And for him to be basically functioning as an employee of the government of Guyana and working under the auspices of the US government and engage in this type of political activity is completely against US law. That's number one. Number two, he is performing the duties of Consul General. As you know, we have said it before, the US government rejected him for Consul General. He is currently being prosecuted by the Nassau County District Attorney's Office for a domestic-related crime. And he was fired by the Department allegedly of Correction for fraud. And they have installed him into the consulate because he is a big supporter of the PPP. But I want to say this. We have said before that we will not allow racists from Guyana come to profit in the United States. And so we will target that event. We will protest that event. We will conduct a massive protest against it. None of these PPP ministers, be it president, vice president, minister, whomever, we will not allow them to come to the United States and have a free ride. So we intend to join with Black Lives Matter, and we are going to try to shut that event down. I don't care what they call us. I don't care what they say. This is the United States. Don't come to this United States and talk nonsense when you're running a racist regime that has no respect for the rights of people in Guyana.
Correct. And I know Amanza is going to be part of that event over this coming weekend, whether virtually or otherwise. I don't want to give out too much information, knowing these jagabas. But Amanza, on that score, I wanted to tease out of you a little bit. What can persons in the diaspora expect to hear from you over this big event coming up this weekend? Certainly, the events at Linden and other places is going to be on your speaking agenda.
Absolutely, Sharon. And before I get into that, Rickford spoke about this government having this installed government, having no, regard. Even their own people are complaining now. We were in the National Assembly on Monday. Monday was the International Day of Indigenous Peoples. And the government just either forgot or didn't care. So that when the leader of the opposition stood up to bring greetings in the National Assembly, you could see the shock on their faces. And it was only until about 4:30 the afternoon that the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs put out a statement celebrating, Indigenous Peoples Day. And so this is really indicative of the contempt that they have for everybody. Who they don't consider to be useful for them at this time. So it really is a ridiculous situation. Come to think about the fact that the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly is somebody of Indigenous descent. No statement from him. It is really just contemptuous the way, these people operate. But
let us be frank. Schuman Shudas has just used the indigenous community for his ride into the National Assembly, and so he has forgotten about them.
Done that. He has simply used them, and he has now discarded them. and it seems to be forgotten that the APNUFC coalition invested heavily in indigenous peoples and in celebrating the indigenous peoples, etc. And it is so shameful that now they cannot even get a greeting from this installed cabal. But I would urge that they remember this the next time they are to put their X's at an election. In relation to the events over the weekend that Mr. Burke and his team are assiduously working to plan, what they can look forward to is that the team that will be going will be briefing a number of persons. The team that is going will be participating in the rally, and we will be bringing the information directly to the people so that the people will hear that information from the horse's mouth and to understand exactly what is happening in Guyana. Understand that you have an installed regime that really doesn't care about people, their fundamental rights. They could not care less. They are simply about enriching themselves and their cronies. And we have to demand that the US stands up and takes notice of this. We have to demand that we hear more from the US Embassy here. They were very vocal during our elections, but suddenly they've gone very quiet. You know, the PPPC regime, this installed cabal, loves to pretend as if democracy is only related to elections and not to an entire system of governance. And so, we will be highlighting these things. That you can't run a country as if you have 100% of the votes when the APNUFC enjoys a 49.7 support base in Guyana. And so these things are untenable, and the US has to pay attention. We are rapidly descending into anarchy, and I do not believe that a destabilized Guyana is an asset to the US being right on their back step. It is important that we bring these facts to them. And, Sherrod, we have gathered our information, we have our figures, we have our statistics. And so we're not talking, just and pulling things out of thin air. We can name names and places, etc. And so, we are the team that is going to be going is going to be briefing. And, I just wish to really publicly commend Rickford and his team for the work that they are doing in the United States. This is a fight that requires all hands to be on deck. It is a fight that requires us to, as you would say, pelt blows from whatever platform we enjoy.
Yeah.
So, seriously, we absolutely. And so, from whatever platform you have, you have a role to you have a duty to play a role. And I think sometimes even among ourselves we get too bogged down with arguing about superiority of strategy rather than just simply pelting blows to this installed regime. They're doing nonsense, and people must begin to stand up and speak up for their rights. So, folks like Rickford who take it to them like yourself every day and who are out front. And there are a number of people who are behind the scenes, because you have to have, to quote a particular manner, engine room that people don't see, and so on. So thank you, Rickford, Jared, thank you. And we will continue to do our part to really expose this cabal. You have to be here, Rickford, to feel the fear and tension that is in Guyana. With this recent execution style killing, people are literally transported back to pre-2015. And so, there's now people gone home morally. There is a fear that is stalking the land. And it's really, like, a number of people have PTSD. There's just a palpable fear that, oh my God, in 12 short months, this is what we are back to. Their own people are complaining when we go into the villages. Sharon, you know this. They complain bitterly. It's really a rapid descent into anarchy. And I think the team that will be traveling will be briefing all and sundry as to exactly what is happening.
Thanks very much for that intervention, Amanza. And Rickford, I want to give you the final words. I know in true Guyanese fashion, you always got some strugglers trying to decide at the last minute whether they're going to an event or otherwise. And I want you to make an appeal for those true Guyanese strugglers who haven't decided yet that they're going to be part of the boots on the ground there at this event over this coming weekend.
Well, yes, I want to appeal to everybody in the United States. If you can come to New York for this weekend. Those of you who are in the tri-state area, come. Listen, people are excited. People are fired up. Everywhere I go, people are telling me about this. I was walking down Flatbush Avenue today. Some people are calling me out. I don't even know them, but they are calling me out, telling me about it. We plan to come to the event. Last Saturday evening, there was a street fair in Queens. I attended that street fair, and I couldn't walk in peace. Guyanese were everywhere. And I want to say this. This is not only Guyana. The Vincentian community have communicated to us they're coming with a contingent and a banner. The Haitian community, as a matter of fact, tomorrow I have an interview on a Haitian radio station. The Haitian community is coming out as well. One of the Haitian politicians also will be attending that march and rally and speaking. Vincentians will be speaking. Other people have other persons from the Caribbean nations have reached out to us. I know the Jamaicans are talking to some people on the committee. They want to come to the contingent. People realize that other folks of African descent from the Caribbean need to express and demonstrate solidarity with the Black people in Guyana. Let us face it. Black people in Guyana are under threat. This administration is an apartheid regime that wants to put Black people back in slavery. And they're using the Guyana police force to intimidate people. They're using their criminal elements to intimidate people. Amanza spoke of the palpable fear that could be felt in the community. And that is part of their strategy as well, to allow crime to go out of control. Matter of fact, I think what is happening now is a distraction from the massive corruption that's happening in the oil industry. There's no accountability with what's happening with oil. Guyanese don't know who they're selling the oil to, the Guyana portion of the list. We don't know who they're selling it to. We don't know how much money they're depositing into the account in New York. We don't know anything. We don't know who's bidding for the oil. We don't know who the people bidding for the oil. There's massive corruption. And I think at some point in time, the international community would begin to pay attention. But like I said earlier, we want everybody to come out and listen to what would be said at the rally, at the Diaspora conference. The Diaspora conference is by invitation only. But again, come out at the town hall meeting on Tuesday that will be held at 434 DeWitt Street, right to the corner of Malta Avenue and between Malta and Livonia. That's Great Christian Church, with a lot of Guyanese activities are held at. And for those people who have not heard, the rally is on Sunday, the 15th of August. It commences at 12 noon at the intersection of Church and Flatbush Avenue. And we will march down to Grand Army Plaza, which is that circle there by Flatbush Avenue and Eastern Parkway. And we'll have a rally, and we'll have members of Congress, civil rights leaders, members of Parliament from Guyana, leaders from other Caribbean American communities speaking to us. And, we'll come away with a lot of information. We'll create a lot of international attention. This is going to be a massive rally. I had a meeting with the police chief of Brooklyn, and he's telling me that they're gauging the social media engagement on the event, and they're planning for this event like if it's the Labor Day parade. So a lot of people will be coming out. We'll have a lot of police support. And I want the Guyanese people to know that in New York, the police come out to these type of events to protect the people, not to rail against the people, not to stop the people from doing anything. They come out to ensure that people's rights are respected and that we have a right as citizens to express ourselves, and they're there to protect us. So I want to invite everybody to come on out. Let's have a grand old Guyanese time. Let's walk the walk on Flatbush, trample TPP racism, get the attention of the international community. Then we're going to take it to Guyana, take it to Washington, take it to Queens, take it wherever, so that the world can hear the message that there's an apartheid regime discriminating against African Guyanese and a lot of people who don't support them politically in Guyana.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Rickford, Burke, I want to thank you for joining this evening. And also Amanza, Walton-Desir, Member of Parliament. Thank you, guys. See you guys over the coming weekend.
Thank you. Good night. Good night to listeners.
Folks, and for the thousands of you who joined us this evening, I want to say thank you. We went a little bit there into the overtime, but I want to thank you for staying with us. And as we go this evening, guys, I want to invite you to share the live stream. Those of us who haven't had a chance to do that as yet, and help us in this way to move forward, to share the information far and wide. I really, really want to thank all of you for joining us night after night. We got the faithful, and they got some folks who are new to the program. Folks, we're going to adjust this background. We haven't gotten it right as yet. We're still getting that little graininess there, but we're going to sort that out soon enough. We've spent the entire day. We thought we had it right, but clearly we have not. Guys, thanks for joining us wherever you are, whether you're at home in Guyana, you're in the diaspora. We want to thank you for joining us. Continue to social distance, continue to wear your mask, continue to sanitize, practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for the health and safety of your family, friends, and loved ones. Guys, do stay safe. And those of you who are coming back to view the broadcast later on in the evening, whether it's right here on Facebook or it's on YouTube or even on Twitter, guys, we invite you to share the live stream. Folks, In the Ring is the place where we defend the truth and we promote the facts. Thanks for joining us, guys. Do stay safe. Thank you. We love each and every one of you. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe and share the damn live stream.